Okay, we start with the language development. In contrast to literacy, language is oral. Language is about listening and speaking. And literacy is how to read and how to write. So these are two different things. So the question is, what comes first, language or literacy? And why? It is very easy to understand. How we as an individuals learned it, how the baby learns. Baby learns it by babbling. He starts babbling and he starts making small sounds, and then he start making words. And that's how we human learned. We learned some few 100,000 years ago how to talk to each other. But how to write on the walls and how to make those hieroglyphs, that came in last few thousand years. So few 100,000 years we started language. But few thousand years, just a tiny fraction of that, we started reading, reading and writing. So literacy comes much later. That's the same sequence we follow. What skills are needed for that then? This is very important. Now we know that language is about oral, it comes first, and the skills needed for that is very obvious answer is speaking, isn't it? No, we don't learn speaking first. Speaking is a very interesting, intricate, complicated, and actually miraculous process. Now, Einstein said there are two ways of experiencing life. One, nothing is miraculous. Two, everything is miraculous. And actually, everything is miraculous. Speaking on the face of it looks like our lungs do something and they pump some air, it goes through our larynx, our this windpipe, and then it comes a little bit through our mouth and through our nose, and some sounds are created, some vibrations are created, and we call it we have spoken. Interesting. These vibrations and these sounds have become a source of information. But how come my lungs and my larynx and my mouth and my lips know all that? How do I do? And this is extremely intricate process. Just uttering per, per for potato, and bur for ball. This per and bur. The difference between per and bur morphologically and how our this mechanical system works is in per our vocal cord and our lips, they are synchronous. In burr, there is a difference of timing which is about 30 thousandths of a second. The lips are delayed and the vocal cord starts earlier. This kind of stuff. Now you can imagine what kind of a nicety and what kind of fine tuning is happening inside. But how did we learn it? That means there is some process that goes before it. Speaking is an output of that, a complicated process that goes into it. We need to know about it. We first listen. Something touches our eardrum and our cochlea, then we have a small kind of hair like structures in it. They are logarithmic and they turn those frequencies into logarithms and send signals to the brain starts learning about the sound, and it takes a lot of time understanding and evaluating it, and then mimicking it, and then eventually it start generating signals to our speaking system to generate this kind of a sound. That is how the process works. So it's listening first, which is then processed by the brain, and then it turns into the language that we speak. So what is the first skill then we need to worry about or to plan about is Listening. It's very important. Listening skills comes first. Whenever we talk about the language development, it is the listening first. And the next natural question is, but what language we speak? Pashto or Punjabi or Balochi at home, and then in the market, in the society, there's another language which is Urdu, and then eventually we want the child to learn something which is really useful for the rest of his life, and in which language actually she will be getting most of the knowledge stuff, means literacy. Uh, so that is a confusion. I go for the first mother tongue, or I go for the second, or go for the third, or make the bilingual. There are certain misconceptions, and we must be clear about it. Number one, yes, we must start with the mother tongue because our first interaction with the child should be in the language which the child has already learnt in the first 3 4 years. Number two, bilingualism is a norm. Most of the children on the planet are bilingual, and monolinguals is an exception and it is an aberration. Very few countries and very few regions are monolingual. Second, bilingualism, as we might feel, has a disadvantage that the second language, for example, in our case, English, will interfere or will create difficulty for the child because the child speaks Punjabi at home. Not at all. Bilingualism actually creates more creativity. People who are successful are multilinguals. So, and even for the adults and the later stage, bi- m- bilinguals have an advantage in terms of their cognitive skills, in terms of even their things like dementia. Research shows get delayed by an average of 4 years in bilinguals than monolinguals. So going bilingual is just a norm, and human child has a huge neuroplasticity to do that. But we transition from the mother tongue gradually to the language which will work for the prepare the child for the life in terms of literacy. And the last question we are going to talk about in this session is, okay, in language one and language two, we go bilingual, and from gradually bilingual, eventually we will do our stuff in the L2 language, which is in which the literacy journey will continue onwards, English. But what words? Words are representing a concept, an object, an action, or a feeling. But what exactly? How do I know? So this question relates to curriculum designing. What words, in what priority, and in what frequency the child has to be exposed to. The how part we will come later, but we should know exactly if we are facilitating the child to learn what. So this is the planning for the child on in language development. And planning is always essentially a backward process, but we make a lot of backward and forward validations. Backward in the sense that we need to know that when my child is, say, in age 10, she must know this much of, let's say, 20,000 words, so that she can do the things she need to do in life. She can buy, she can ask, she can request, she can tell, she can read and write. But what words till age 8? What words till age 6? What words till age 5? And what am I going to plan for her in next 6 months? And what in the next 2 months? He just joined the schools. So these words are always prioritized. This process of prioritizing words is actually based on two principles. Utility. If the word is not of the child's utility, it should be deferred and it should be brought into into this learning process when it's of utility. If I am telling child or kind of exposing child to this is a book or this is a magazine, the word like this is the binding of the magazine and this is spine of the book and this is the gutter of the book is not important. The child is interested in the book and the colors, not interested in how the book is bound. Or uh, this is a shoe, but should I tell it on the day one? 'Cause this is the shoe lining and this is the eyelet on the shoe and this is the laces, etc. No, they will come, but they will come in their priority. This is a big mistake that sometimes we just take a story from somewhere and insert, and the words are totally useless. For example, we learned Zoe for Zuruf in Urdu, and in 45 years plus of a journey, I have never seen anybody using the word Zuruf in life. So that was a useless word. That should have come, but later at the much advanced literacy stage. Interest means respect the chemistry of the child. The child is at the play stage or entertainment stage or uh, the adolescents end up kind of getting into the teenage stage and all that. So things are of child interest. The small child is interested in foods, in animals, in colors, in toys. So these things which the child, the utility and interest are the two factors how we connect the child to this language process. How do we adult add a new word to our vocabulary when we came across one? Yeah, we go to dictionary or we search in the Google. Do the children also learn the same way? No, they don't. But now, if I recall, and millions of the, children around me who were there then studying, they were exposed to primers and textbooks which look like this. B for banana, this is spelling of banana. D for donkey, this is spelling of donkey. And that is how donkey is written. Ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. You are trying to impose on the child to learn a new name of something which is not in his native or a mother tongue. He doesn't know what a banana is. At the same time, you are trying him to get familiarized with the sound, and at the same time, you are interestingly expecting that he should also learn those strokes and structures which a human being devised for communication, those alphabets. That is exactly the thing that needs to be totally undone. This is ridiculous. We first have to tell them about, they should know about names of the things and the concepts and the actions and the feelings of the utility based and of their interest, followed by a sound awareness. Oh, yeah, basket and a ball and the butterfly, the burr, burr, burr. Yeah, this is a burr. And it is the third step to tell them, oh yeah, we can, if I want to communicate bird to somebody who is not here, then we have an interesting symbol for that, and those symbols comes later. So it's the names first, followed by sounds, followed by symbols, and then we connect all these three together, and that's how journey goes. So this thing needs to be totally changed. Thank you very much.